What's going on, everybody? So listen, let me say this at the very beginning of the video. Before you get upset, before you get defensive, before you get angry, before you start to argue, all I ask is that you simply listen to these facts, listen to these stats, listen to these numbers. All right, we're going to go all the way back to the 1960s forward. We're going to give you different arguments, and then I'm going to play a series of clips from what I believe are very powerful African American voices. And I wanted to use my platform to start a conversation. All right. Now, this isn't really about Trump or none of that, right? I know you see the title. He's the one who's president right now. And there's certain things and conversations that are happening right now in Congress about food stamps, about your SNAP benefits, all of that, and it's all over the place online. But I've got about 4 or 5 powerful Black voices from the female perspective, and then I got about 4 or 5 powerful voices from the male side for the Black perspective, and all kinds of other clips. And so let us know where you guys are watching from. I'm gonna give you a moment to log into the live because I want to only go through this one time. All right. Let's see. I want to pull up one more stat here. And so this is just an interesting conversation. Now, we've talked about this even before Trump was president. This has been an argument that has been going on. I've seen people like Dr. Umar talk about it. Many different people have talked about it, given different perspectives. And so that's all this is about to be, is a conversation. Now, there's a spiritual element of it. We've often talked about how the LGBTQ has tried to attach themselves to the civil rights, movement, and liken their movement to, the civil rights movement. Like, we're going through the same thing that Black people went through. And so we saw this mixture at one point where even on the Black Lives Matter website, they were saying we come against the Western society's nuclear family. Like, that language was on their website, and they had the whole cisgender this, cisgender that. And so a couple things, right, with these SNAP benefits, for the most part, there's Black people on it, white people on it, all kinds of people, but 63% of adult SNAP recipients are women. All right. That's the first thing. And so back in 2010, the cost of living to live comfortably, right? This is just an estimate. They said was about 48,000. In 2025, it's in the hundreds of thousands. All right. The number they gave me, 294,000 for a family of 4 to live comfortably with all of the bills. Now, we know a lot of people are making it on way less. And so I want to take you through a quick timeline. All right. We know that the feminist movement really got jumping the second wave during the 1960s. We got the Roe versus Wade, 1972. We had the women's strike for equality. It gained nationwide attention in 1970. All right. Now, pay attention to these numbers that I'm about to give you. When you look at the divorce rate trends, all right, in the 1960s, it was 25%, 1970s, 35 to 40%, 1980s, 45 to 50%. So right around the time that we had this feminist movement, right, the divorce rate started going up. Now, I know some people are going to argue that, all of our great grandmamas was just getting beat on and they couldn't leave. And, they finally got their voice and they finally left. But also, if you look at what was going on around that time, all right, we're going to look at some numbers here. The War on Poverty, 1960, President Lyndon B. Johnson, all right, January 8, 1964. And then 1964, we had the Food Stamp Act, right? So what everybody's talking about in 1964 established the Federal Food Assistance for Low Income households. So as I told you guys the other day, it's not Trump that is stopping your food stamps. It's Congress, because Congress every year has to come up with this spending bill and they have to approve it. And so right now, and I'm going to show you some video clips and evidence, right? Democrats are saying this is the only time we have leverage. So we're going to keep voting no on the bill till we get what we want. And of course, Republicans have done the same thing in the past. Essentially, the Democrats and the Republicans in Congress are not coming into agreement. So it's not that Trump is sitting there and saying, hey, I don't want you guys to have food stamps. All right. It's the same thing that soldiers are not going to get paid. Government employees, a lot of them will not get paid until Congress comes into agreement. And Trump has nothing to do with that. We also mentioned the other day how with Trump, the changes that they are trying to make to the SNAP system are simply if you're an able bodied person and you're under the age of 64, able bodied being the key word, they want you to work about 80 hours a month. Most people work 40 hours a week or more, but they want you to be working or doing some kind of job training to better yourself so there's more accountability because there's people that are taking advantage of the system. And then they also want the state at a local level to take over some of the costs from the federal government. So it's not Trump saying, I'm just going to do away with food stamps. But it's a very interesting conversation. So when you look at this feminist movement in the 1960s and you look at the food stamps in the 1960s, and then you look at the divorce rate in the 1960s, right, and the 70s and the 80s, and you go through it, you see a very interesting correlation that cannot be ignored. All right. So 25% 1960s, 1970s 35, 40%, 1980s 45, 1990s 45. And then we see a slow decline as we start getting to the 2000s, 2010s, 2020s. It's about 30, 33%. But most people are arguing, right, that a lot of people don't want to get married anymore. Now, here's the question: who initiates most divorces? It says women file at about 70%, right? 69 to 70%, according to Stanford University. All right. And then you look at the marriage rates over time. In 1960, 72% of US adults were married. All right. Now, 2018, 46% of women are currently married. 2024, 47.1% of households headed by a married couple. And then when you look at the marriage rate by race, this is why we have what we have in the thumbnail. It says black woman 30% married, white non-Hispanic woman 52% married, Asian woman 58% married. All right, they're leading the way on that, and Hispanic women 42%. So you have black woman and Hispanic woman, with black women coming in at the lowest rate being married, right? So when you look at all those statistics, you see that there is an actual correlation there that cannot be ignored. And so there's an argument out there right now, and I've seen this and I collected the videos. I'm gonna play it for you guys, that a lot of men are saying, hey, the government, right? Black man, white man, a lot of men are saying the government made it more appealing, made it more easy for a woman to just say, hey, I'm gonna leave my marriage and I'm gonna just go and let the government take care of me, right? And so the argument is, you know, if it's not as appealing to leave, would there be so many broken homes? Because 70% of women are initiating these divorces. Now, yes, there are some, it's justified, obviously, but we all know some people who just, I'm not happy. You know, we see the stuff with Aisha Curry, we see the stuff with Will Smith's wife, right? There are some people out there, and it's like, oh, well, you know what? The government's going to take care of me. And so some argue that this is actually kind of handicapped people, right? From both perspectives, that some get so reliant that they never try to better themselves and find a job. And some of people look like, well, I could just leave because the government will give me housing, the government will give me Medicare, the government will pay my bills, the government will give me food stamps. And so essentially, what they're saying that Trump is trying to do, it's right. Like if you're walking on crutches, right? If you never put that leg down, eventually the crutches are just gonna make your legs weaker, or training wheels. You're never gonna learn to balance yourself. And so the government can be a form of training wheels, right? So some people, they just never get better because they're like, I'm never taking the training wheels off this bike, right? And then there's another group of people that say, you know what? I'll just quit everything and I'll let the government be my man. All right. And so when you see those numbers, it's undeniable that there's a correlation. And then with this feminist movement, right? This is an interesting quote. Many of you might have heard it before. Hard times create what? Strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. And so we know that there's a lot of women out there now. It's a thing, men are no good. You see it on The View. what do we need men for? We don't really need men for anything. But it's easy to say that now in the world that has been built predominantly by men. And a lot of women, right? There's a spiritual element to this, and then there's just a common sense, practical element of this. A lot of women want equal rights when things are easy now. But if we were to go into World War III, how many would want equal rights, right? Women want equal rights when it comes to being the boss of the company, but not doing many of the harder jobs that men do, all right, to keep society going. All right. So let me run through these numbers and then we're going to get into these videos. All right. So public safety and services, men make up 86% of police officers, 82% of the military, 94% of the firefighters, 89% of waste collection, 78% of transportation, 92% of trucking, power line installers, 98%. All right. Construction and trades, construction, 90% men, plumbing, pipe fitting, 97% men, carpentry, 98% men, roofing, 98% men, heavy equipment, 96% men, welding, machining, 96% men, utilities and energy, oil, gas, mining, 85 to 90% men, electricians, line workers, 98% men, water and sewage operators, 93% men, power plant operators, 95% men. Some of these numbers we went over. Transportation and logistics, railroad engineers, 96% men, pilots and mechanics, 94% men, drivers, trucking, 92% men, dock workers, 88% men, public safety and security. All right, we talked about it. Police, firefighters, security guards, 86, 94, 82. Maintenance and repair, auto mechanics, 97% men. HVAC techs, 97% men. General repair, 93% men. Uh, Agriculture and outdoor work, farmers, ranchers, 88% men. Fishing, forestry, lodging, 95, 98% men. Manufacturing and production, 70 to 80% men. Heavy steel, auto manufacturing, 85 to 90%. So men really make the world go round. All right. Like men are what make the world go round. Somebody said, what does Marcus do for work? I've been working since I was 11 years old, $2 an hour, hard labor, hard construction, drywall, painting, all of that. And then at 17, I went to school for a little bit, was still doing that work. 18, I joined the army, went to Iraq, went to Afghanistan. So I literally been working my butt off my whole life. Now, with all that being said, right, we see there's a correlation there between the feminist movement, um, between the welfare movement. Divorce rates keep going up. Men are bad. We don't need bad men. But part of the reason, first of all, we see objectively that's not true. If men stopped what they were doing, the world would literally stop. Right. So that's just people living in la la land. That's why I gave you that quote, right? That um hard times create strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. So because men have done all this, now we've got a lot of these delusional women coming along and, oh, I'm a strong, independent woman. I don't need a man. But the reality is the government is still taking care of them. What would some of these women do if the government wasn't feeding them, if the government wasn't educating their children, right? And that is the problem. So some argue from the perspective that the government has replaced the man. All right. So I wanted to give you all of that. I know that took about 15 minutes, but now let's go into these clips. And I'm just going to try to let it play without interrupting too much so you can kind of get the gist. I'll try to interject here and there. And this is just for, education purposes. And some people can get this information. And so, like I said, there's going to be some powerful, black voices here towards the middle, some powerful black female voices, some powerful black male voices. And we have to stop with this nonsense that, if you are black and you don't use the Democratic Party's talking points, you don't like black people. I love being black and I love black people. And there are plenty of people who don't think like people in the Democratic Party think, that are very intelligent, that are very smart. And you're about to see that here in a moment on this video.
families that are going to suffer. But it is one of the few leveraged times we have.
Without a resolution to this shutdown, SNAP benefits could come to a halt on November 1st.
To reopen the government, and we lose our leverage.
Roughly 42 million people are at risk of losing critical food assistance.
Frankly, this is our only moment of leverage.
Families are headed into a bleak holiday season, possibly with no government food assistance because of the federal shutdown.
More leverage.
Senate minority.
Hold on, guys. So let me educate this one person, and then I'll let the clips play. Trump is the reason we're talking about this is people are saying Trump is trying to take your food stamps because Trump is racist, and he's not. First of all, the reason people are not going to get food stamps is because Congress is arguing, right? And the Congress has to come up with the spending bill. So every time we go into a government lockdown, soldiers don't get paid, government employees don't get paid, and this SNAPs benefit is a federal program. So since it's a federal program, that also gets shut down until they come into an agreement that has nothing to do with Trump, right? If Congress would get it together, then everybody would have their SNAP benefits. But you got people really ready to run in the streets and go rob Walmart because somebody's telling them Trump is taking your food stamps, he's racist. And that's not what's happening. That's not what's happening at all. Matter of fact, Trump said today that he's going to make sure they figure it out. All right. So, and then I already explained the changes that they're trying to make to the SNAP thing. They just want people to work at least 80 hours a month. All right. Most people work 40 hours a week because they want more accountability because people are taking advantage of the system.
Of course, there will be, families that are going to suffer, but it is one of the few leveraged times we have.
Without a resolution to this shutdown, SNAP benefits could come to a halt on November 1st.
To reopen the government, and we lose our leverage.
Roughly 42 million people are at risk of losing critical food assistance.
Frankly, this is our only moment of leverage.
Families are headed into a bleak holiday season, possibly with no government food assistance because of the federal shutdown.
More leverage.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said this week, quote, every day gets better for Democrats the longer the shutdown goes on. How is every day getting better, as Chuck Schumer said?
I don't think this is better for anybody.
Should the Democratic senators from New Mexico, your home state, vote to open the government so that these SNAP funds are not at risk?
Let me be clear. The administration is choosing to starve American children with money that they already have appropriated.
I'm not applauding their
tactics.
by
the White House.
Well,
this is a choice by the White House.
This is also, Congresswoman, this is also a choice by Senate Democrats to not vote to open the government. Yes, it is. I understand why they're doing it. They're doing it because they want Medicaid funds restored. They're doing it because they want Obamacare premiums to be extended past the end of the year. I understand the reasoning.
Sir, let me just be clear. The money for contingency plans is sitting there. That is why the states are suing. The White House is withholding funds from
2 to 3 weeks worth of SNAP funds.
Food.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it may not be a big deal to you, but let me tell you that for the grandparents, for grandparents that literally are feeding their children.
My point is that it's a short-term solution.
In those accounts.
It's a short-term.
At the end of the day, people need to be able to feed their families, and Saturday is when those funds run out.
If you feel so strongly, Congresswoman, why not ask the Senate Democrats from New Mexico to vote to open the government so that the SNAP funds...
Sir, I am here in the House of Representatives. It is shut down. I am fighting to get the government reopened. I am fighting...
If you are Black and you get food stamp benefits, you can get money for your food in November. Black Lives Matter Global Network has raised millions to support Black people. If you contact them right now, you can get $200 per person in your household. Of course, you have to be Black and they follow the one drop rule, so you just need to prove Black ancestry. There's no reason to starve because of Donald Trump. Black Lives Matter has your back. Just kidding. They're too busy buying mansions.
So you guys know how SNAP benefits are going away November 1st. This seems like a really good time to mention that if a store doesn't have a cop on site, they can't detain you for stealing. That is false imprisonment. That's a much more serious crime than stealing. So if they don't have a cop at the store, they can't stop you. Even if they catch you, you can leave. That's just an objective fact. I didn't make the rules. I didn't break the system, so don't get mad at me for telling you the fact.
And y'all need to stop calling people lazy because they don't want to get a job.
It is the taxpayer's job to pay for my kids to eat and for my kids to be taken care of. It is the taxpayer's responsibility to take care of my kids.
I am allergic to work. I can't work. I refuse to work. The whole reason I had kids was the amount of government benefits that you get for one child.
Red Lobster ain't got nothing on our free food stamp seafood bags.
Trump has cut my food stamps from $2,800 down to $350. Now they're telling me I have to go work. Now I have to go do all this. Well, I literally got 5 kids. Okay, I'm trying to sit here and spend time with them. I'm not trying to go work, 50, 60 hours a week so I can pay bills.
Y'all all talking about, oh, you able-bodied, you can work. What about your grandma and granddaddy was able-bodied and could work out there in the mills, but they still went over there and stole motherfuckers and brought them back over here to work in their mills. What about them? What about them? It's cool when they do it. It's a problem when I do it.
If you're one of these girls out here that's having babies every year or every 2 years and say that you are building a family and you lay around on your back every day and keep mess up and stroll on the internet on your free Wi-Fi, I want you to know that I don't give a. These people didn't even care about their own children. For one, you're already poor. You're already in poverty. Why do you keep on having kids? Y'all still keep having babies so y'all can lock down a man or so y'all can stay on federal assistance. I don't give a mother if they cut you down to $50 a month.
So for those of you coming in late, I'm just trying to let this video play through because you're going to hear a lot of interesting perspectives. It's about to get really, really good, but I want people to see the ugly reality first, and then you're going to see these people responding.
Y'all should work 4 jobs to feed them kids. That'll stop y'all from having all them.
What the fuck you mean? Who ain't getting that goddamn food stamps in goddamn November? Because I'm getting my goddamn shit. I don't know about the rest of you motherfuckers, but I'm getting my shit. Because I'm going to tell you just like this, on Jesus Lamar motherfucking Christ. I will be at motherfucking Walmart with my steel toes on and my motherfucking helmet, and I dare a bitch trying to stop me from walking out that motherfucking store with my groceries. Baby, I'm 250 pounds solid. Baby, you want to see a human motherfucking bulldozer, baby?
Black Americans do not care about your government shutdown, and Black Americans do not care about you taking away our EBT and our government assistance. But I'm here to let you know that we are going to eat regardless, even if we have to hunt you animals down and roast and eat you. The delectable and cheese.
And if you work in a grocery store, you are still going to get paid that hourly wage, whether somebody takes that food or not. Mind your fucking business. If you work at a grocery store and you know that the food stamps is not working in November and you see people stealing and you snitch, you deserve to die. Good day, bye.
Y'all better lock y'all cars at night, lock your cars, lock your house up. If you're one of them people that just leave your car unlocked, parked in your driveway, you better lock it. With the food stamps being gone and people not gonna have people gonna eat, okay? Nobody's just gonna, this is 2025, but nobody's just not gonna eat. Nobody's, food stamps, I'm telling you right now.
Notice nobody's talking about I'm gonna go get a job. Everybody's talking about I'm gonna go steal.
Even with the government shutdown and the food stamps and stuff being gone for next month, and it's going to affect everybody, there's about to be a lot of stuff going on, okay? I'm not even going to talk about it too much because, hey, you know what's about to happen. Lock your cars, lock them.
I'm going to tell y'all straight up like this. I just got that text that the link is definitely cut the fuck off for November. Y'all better stay the fuck out of my way in these stores. I'm walking out with carts and I'm not paying for shit. Trump, if you want motherfuckers start looting, it's going to happen. Before my kids.
For people like her, this is why we have to make these kind of videos, because she's convinced that it's just Trump being racist, and then she'll probably turn around if she votes and still go vote Democrat, because there's just a level of delusion out there.
Go broke this bitch like Jock. I'm gonna be stealing like it ain't no tomorrow. I am going to go in that store, get everything I get regularly. I'm going to bag my shit up, swipe my link card. As soon as that bitch say, ain't no pending balance on there, I'm going to walk the fuck out. And I'm going to have one of my cousins with me that'll punch your so hard.
You know, I think it's really funny that you got the nerve to mention that you're going to do this for your kids. But you know what you won't do? for your kids, get a job. You see, this is...
If I came in your house with all my bags, picking out all your food, deep freezer, snacks, your grandmama's milk and everything, what you gonna do? I'm curious. What you gonna do if I was to walk in your house and go grocery shopping in your shit?
No, I don't feel bad for the people who are losing out on their EBT.
So now here we get to the good stuff, right? It took us, 25 minutes, but I feel like I have to just show people the reality, because even when I posted this earlier, there were some people saying, these videos are AI, nobody's talking about. I made a post, I said, what do you guys think about all these people who are saying they're going to go rob and steal and eat white people? And they're like, oh, that's not real. I don't believe it. I haven't seen any of those videos. That's why I take my time to gather all the clips. And I want to play more than just one, because then they'll just say, well, that's just one person. No, this is a problem. And I could have kept playing probably another 15 minutes. But now here is where we get to some just powerful Black female voices, right? They're giving you their thoughts on it. And then there's going to be some men who are going to talk about what I talked about in the very beginning of the video. So I'm going to just try to let it play through so you can hear what they're saying. That's why I did the long intro earlier explaining my take.
For Thanksgiving. You niggas don't even like America. Why are y'all worried about celebrating Thanksgiving? I thought y'all said America was an oppressive country. For Thanksgiving, y'all should pack your bags and escape this country. I used to work at a grocery store in Chicago. The niggas I hated the most were the niggas who came through my line with EBT, because they always had a bunch of bullshit. I'm talking about 2-3 carts filled to the brim with frozen food, pops, chips, candy, bullshit. Niggas selling stamps. Y'all were having a free-for-all with the taxpayers' money. I don't feel bad about people missing out on EBT. And this is coming from somebody who used to be on food stamps, by the way. The Bible says if a man doesn't work, he doesn't eat. So I think EBT is pretty demonic.
I know y'all won't admit this because I know how y'all are, but y'all aren't really outraged that the food stamps or EBT shit is about to get shut down. Y'all are really outraged because now you're going to have to take the money you normally buy weed, wigs, bundles, get your nails done. Y'all are going to have to take those funds and buy food now. And don't say I'm lying, because when y'all were receiving food stamps, you were selling the food stamps. So you weren't worried about feeding your children then. But all of a sudden now, you're outraged. Oh my God, like, how we gonna feed our kids? You know what I'm saying? Y'all ain't been worried about them kids and their well-being, but all of a sudden now, you are. Okay. All right.
Let me tell y'all something. Those that's talking about going out there making them videos, talking about y'all gonna rob them people's stores because they done cut them SNAP benefits. Let me tell you something. You go out there, you gonna give them folks every legal right to bop you across your head. Baby, they gonna be justified in bopping you across your head. You better learn how to cook some quick, cheap, easy meals. You could take some tuna, some cream of mushroom, peas, and throw some noodles in it. You want to get fancy, crumble some crackers on the top. You got tuna casserole. You can take you some beans. I don't care if it's black bean, pinto beans. If you don't know how to make them homemade, you can buy them in the can from the Dollar Tree with some rice, baby, and you got beans and rice. Get you some cornmeal, honey, a little bit of oil, make some hot skillet cornbread. And you can take some peanut butter with some jelly and make a sandwich, grilled cheese with some bread, honey, and get your tomato soup. You got a meal, and sit down somewhere. Don't go out in them streets because they gonna bop y'all in the head.
Also, y'all big ass mad now at Trump and his supporters because of this possible EBT shutdown in November. They're accusing us of showing lack of empathy towards families that need it. I need it too, but I ain't on it. It's hard to feed my family as well without food assistance, but we do it. The problem is, in a lot of households, they don't want to settle for beans and rice and chicken every damn day. They want to eat steak and baked potatoes and stuff their bellies full of Oreos and milk. Meanwhile, you got families that don't get food stamps at all, eating syrup sandwiches. No, mama gonna work it out. Mama gonna work it out. So where was this energy when we was complaining about it under Joe Biden?
EBT getting ready to be shut down completely as of November the 1st. I'm seeing all of these videos, as I'm sure you all have, of people complaining, saying that they're going to start stealing, and don't say anything to me if I'm walking out of the store with a thing of groceries because I can't feed my children. I haven't seen one video of anyone begging for a job. I haven't seen one video saying, you know what, they about to cut off my EBT. Y'all, anybody hiring? I haven't heard not one of those videos. Not one. You live in America, okay? And regardless of how you feel, you live in the land of opportunity. Young lady, You live in the land of opportunity where not only if you can't get a job, even if you don't have an education, you can do gig work. You can go be a bartender. You can go outside and beg. You have opportunity after opportunity, even if you have a car. I just heard that people can do DoorDash or something that they'll loan you a car. You get to rent a car to do that. There are too many opportunities here for you not to sit back and try to figure out a way to make sure you and your children have food.
I'm gonna keep it all the way real with you. I ain't upset about them cutting.
So that was the women, and like you guys know, yeah, there's a little cussing here and there. I think people just got to hear it real and raw. So you heard what those women had to say, the last 4 or 5 women, and I agree, right? Very interesting, powerful perspective. Now, here's the perspective that we were talking about earlier from the men's point of view, okay?
No food stamps. I'm not getting them anyway. You wanted the Cheeto in there, now you ain't gonna be able to get your Cheetos. That's on y'all. I'm happy for the brothers whose value about to go up, because they wouldn't settle for no man working 2 jobs. You ain't never home and you do this, you ain't getting no money because she don't need you, because she got all these benefits over here. She can go play around and get her little fix on the weekend from one of them boys that's moving around the city doing the riffing, the raffing. I'm happy for my brothers. Go ahead, young man. Keep working your job and do your thing and stack your money up. And it's going to be a bunch of bitches that was dependent on things that they ain't going to be dependent on no more. That was out there saying, I don't need no man. And your little $40 is going to increase in value now. So do your thing, young brother. Keep doing your little thing. I know you're working 80 hours a week and they don't appreciate you. They're going to complain about you never being home. But you got these bills. And if you stop doing this, you're going to be home more, but you're going to have to talk more of that 50-50 talk that they hate so much. And you're trying to figure it out and you can't figure because there was a glitch in the system. And the Cheeto man finna get rid of a piece of the glitch. And there's a lot of people that ain't like it. They shaking in their boots because they know.
I didn't hear that the first time he said Cheeto man is about to get rid of the glitch in the system.
They done talked a lot of shit, and time's gonna get hard, and you ain't been a nice person. You don't know how to treat people. You don't know how to have community.
Listen, I'm gonna say it one time and one time only. A lot of motherfuckers thinking it, but they ain't gonna say it. Listen here, I don't give a fuck about y'all losing y'all food stamp. I'm 25 with no motherfucking kids. I get up at 6 o'clock to go to work, and at the end of the work, I go coach kids. It's just not hard for you motherfuckers out here with kids. It's hard for us too. And no fucking way do I want my hard-earned tax money going towards you and your 9 fucking kids just because you couldn't get off your fucking back and go get a job or tell a motherfucker to wear a car. So no, I do not give a fuck because you're losing your benefits. Bitch, get off your ass, go get a job, do what the fuck you gotta do to raise your fucking kid because you.
Like I said, guys, yeah, a lot of cussing. I know it's like, but you gotta just hear it raw.
Fucking had them. I'm not paying for your fucking kids anymore. I don't give a fuck about that. Them kids can fucking starve. If you don't care enough to get off your ass and go feed them, why the fuck should my tax money have to do it? The using and abusing of the system is over. Cause us motherfuckers who can't get SNAP benefits or free medical, bitch, we still gotta make a way. So if they've been saying fuck us for the longest, it's fuck y'all. Tired of motherfuckers getting a free pass and I'm over here busting my ass without no help. Bitch, you can do the same. Sorry you made poor life choices.
Tariffs are gonna be bad. They're gonna crash the economy. Tariffs. So y'all don't know how smart Trump is. Trump got those tariffs to get us a surplus. Cause he know them fucking Democrats was gonna shut the government down. Now he looks like such a hero. When the Democrats shut the government down, Trump just allocated $300 million from tariffs to pay SNAP benefits. So that's gonna have him looking like a hero. Hey, let me tell you something. Let's just be real. A Democrat is like a woman. A woman will set her own motherfucking house on fire. Set the whole goddamn house on fire. Gas, kerosene, and matches. And by the time the motherfucking fire department get there, she'll be outside with a bucket of goddamn water trying to put that motherfucker out.
Oh my goodness.
That's how Democrats are. We hate Trump so much, we gonna shut down the motherfucking government. Don't realize we losing all our constituents behind this shit.
I don't want to sound like I'm overthinking it because I know a lot of y'all can't keep up, but this SNAP benefit situation clearly shows y'all could not survive a world built off natural selection. If the government really stood back, if they just let everything go and let the world be who they want to be without them, y'all would not survive. Let's say they just only protected us from invasion of other countries, but you have to do everything else yourself. Y'all would not survive the natural selection. You couldn't get your own food. You couldn't keep your own crib. You couldn't educate your own kids. Y'all would literally not survive a world of natural selection. Y'all response to the SNAP benefits is don't celebrate the holiday. Keep your money. Everyone's going to be affected because food prices going to go up. Yeah, but this is natural selection. This is how the world moves. Without the government, right? What y'all going to do when all those wolves start attacking the sheep? You either going to turn into a wolf yourself, you going to follow behind them like a fox, or you going to be slaughtered. That's how natural selection works. And there's one issue with just benefits. It's showing y'all that y'all are biting the hand that feeds you. A lot of y'all are against the government. You constantly protesting. You constantly talking about them. But then you turn to the same internet where you're bashing them and you're trying to hold them accountable to continue to feed you and put food on your table. They don't have to do that. This is them showing you we don't have to do a lot of the things we do. But they understand the benefits of who they are. And a lot of people take it for granted. You can't be biting the hand that feeds you and then turning around and talking shit about the person who that hand belonged to. It don't make any sense. Y'all have to pick a new battle. Pick a new fight.
What the hell is white privilege? Privilege is the fact that you could go into Walmart and walk out with things you didn't pay for. The same people you call oppressors are the one paying your damn bills for you to live in government housing. Ain't they giving y'all cell phones now with unlimited data? Who's paying for that? Black on white crime is swept under the rug. Ain't no protests, ain't no cities being burned down, ain't no looting, robbing, stealing, ain't none of that. But when there's white on black crime, it's damn near a million man march. The whole world stops. You got the damn basketball players is wearing t-shirts and everybody kneeling. Black people are the most racist people in 2025. You got your own money, you got your own damn channel. How would white entertainment television sound? How would Asian entertainment television sound? That wouldn't sound crazy. Everything black on, black on, black on, black on. People starts putting white on. If I could walk through a white community and feel safe, I wouldn't dare walk through a black community. It's dangerous. You use racial slurs towards everybody more than you're willing to admit. But God forbid somebody calls you the hard R. Oh my God, somebody called Reverend Al Sharpton, somebody called Dan Ben Crump. Like, am I lying? Come on, man. I've been in the backroom conversations. I heard it. You can say white boy all you want. White boy this, white boy that. But God, let somebody call you black boy. Oh, man. You're ready for a fight now. Hey, you're racist, man. It ain't them.
9 to 5 is for niggas who.
So you see how these men are starting to look differently about, they're not just following what the Democrats are saying. And then even with the women, a lot of these black men are starting to call these women out.
Can't survive in the streets. And this furthermore lets me know how dumb some of y'all women is. Bitch, you think we want to be in the streets? Do you think any nigga woke up and wanted to sell crack? Like really wanted to, like, I'm gonna sell cocaine. Like, what the fuck you think this is?
If a nigga talking to me and he ain't got no money, this all I hear.
What's the point of making these goofy little videos to try to trick dudes out of their money? Y'all might as well stop beating around the bush and just post your rate. Because at this point, it's obvious what you're doing. You might as well just put a menu online. That way, dudes know what they're paying for and what they're getting.
The reason why the government is being shut down. Is shut down. They're the ones who has voted no 10 plus times to get the government open back up. SNAP benefits, they voted no. Paying attention.
Let me just skip through this last part, see if there's any more videos that I want you to see. But you guys, if you've been watching since the beginning with the introduction I gave, I'm going to give that summary again so I could tie all of this together so you can understand what this video is about for those of you who just jumped in. Let me just see if there's any more clips that I wanted you guys to play. But you see it's a lot of she's talking about the food stamps, and the men are like saying the same thing, oh, I'm independent. This is a funny little clip. I wonder, should I play it? He's just talking about how Obama was scolding black men, telling us that we need to vote for Kamala because she's black, and then Obama endorsed this white woman for governor in Virginia over the actual black woman. I think she's got Jamaican roots and things. So he was calling out Obama for being a hypocrite. And so the point is, a lot of people are starting to wake up, and you can't sit there and just, oh well, if you're black and you don't think like a Democrat, then you don't like black people or you're self-hate. That is not the case. People are starting to wake up and just see, what the world is becoming. So let me run through this for you guys, for those of you who jumped in late. All right. So what we started this video with before we played the clips is we were talking about, if you look at the numbers, if you look at the stats from the feminist movement, from when food stamps was created, all of that, you see a correlation there that is undeniable. And I'm going to run through those stats again for you, and then you could do what you will with that information, right? So cost of living in 2010, they said what you needed to be comfortable was about 48,000. In 2025, they're saying 290,000 for a family of four to live comfortably, all right? And so when we look at, we're going to go just on a quick little journey, right? 1960s, the second wave of the feminist movement began. All right, we had the women's strike for equality. 1970 drew nationwide attention, and then 1972 we had Roe versus Wade, the legal milestones with all that kind of stuff. And then when you look at what was it, Lyndon B. Johnson, I believe in the 1960s, the war on poverty. All right, so January 8, 1964 Food Stamp Act established federal food assistance for low-income housing. So at the same time we had this feminist movement on the rise, we had the welfare coming in, all of the stuff is coming in at the same time. And so what's interesting is when you look at the numbers, okay, a correlation to that. So the divorce rate in the 1960s was 25%. 1970s, it went up to 35 to 40%. All right, 1980s, it went up to 45 to 50%. All right, 1990s, it was right at 45%. And then there began a slow decline, 2000s, 40%, 2010s, 35%, 2020s, 30 to 33%. All right, but the reality of that too is that a lot of people don't want to get married anymore. Another interesting stat to look at is this: women initiate 69% of divorces, right? So you got the feminist movement. Now we know the argument's going to be, well, your grandma and your great grandma, they was all getting their head beat in. They didn't have no money. They couldn't leave. They didn't have no options. They're going to give you the same argument that they do with abortion, right? Well, what about if someone gets, you guys know where I'm going with that, right? And so the marriage rate over the time in the 1960s, 72% of US adults were married, right? The goal was, man, I want to get married. I want to have a family. And then 2018, it says 46% of women currently married. And then 2024, 47.1, right? So we know, a lot of, I don't want to get married no more, right? Well, I don't need a man. And what men are good for nothing, right? And we're going to talk about that again here in a minute. And then there's a lot of men who are saying, I don't want to get married anymore. And we're getting away from the spiritual side of it, was God's design for the family. And we talked about earlier how even on the Black Lives Matter website, the LGBTQ was always trying to partner with the Black movement, right? So they had on their website that we are against Western society's nuclear family idea. We support cisgender. This, all of that was on the Black Lives Matters website. And so then you take that into consideration, and then you look at the marriage rate by race, okay? Black women, 33%, white women, 52%, Asian women, 58%, Hispanic women, 42%, right? So you got the women saying, I don't need a man. I'm a strong, independent woman. And this is what some of the men were arguing in this video. It's like, okay, but if we take that government assistance away, if we take that SNAP away, now it's going to force you to make better decisions, right? You seen the woman literally say, I had all these kids because I knew I was going to get these government benefits, right? I knew I was going to get all these different things, right? And so a lot of men are arguing that they don't care that the SNAP benefits are being taken away, which they're not being taken away. They're just kind of redefining it. But they're saying this might actually be a good thing because it's going to force a lot of women who initiate 69% of these divorces to be like, you know what, maybe I do need a man, because look at what the cost of living is. Maybe I should appreciate men. Maybe I shouldn't be on this man hate train. And so black women being, 33%, that's the lowest. That's what I'm saying. Some people think that this could turn it around for the black family. And so then we talk about the feminist movement, right? Women want equal rights when things are easy. They had that quote, hard times create strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. A lot of women don't want equal rights when things get hard, right? If we had World War III right now, a lot of women wouldn't want equal rights. We see a lot of women wanting equal rights when it comes to being a boss. And we have the stats to prove this, right? Maybe a boss in an office job, or the WNBA saying they want the same pay, they deserve the same pay as NBA players, but not actually doing the harder jobs, right? So when they say, oh, we don't need men, think about the quote that I just gave you. Men literally make the world go round, all right? Let's go through the percentages of men who are working certain jobs, right? So public and safety, police officers, 86% men, military, 82% men, firefighters, 94% men, waste collection, 89% men, transportation, 78% men, trucking, 92% men, power line installers, 98% men. All right, we're going to go through some other ones. Construction, 90% men, plumbing, pipe fitting, 97% men, carpentry, 98% men, roofing, 98% men, heavy equipment, 96% men, welding, machining, 96% men, utilities and energy, oil, gas, mining, 85 to 90% men, electricians, line workers, 98% men, water and sewage operators, 93% men, power plant operators, 95% men, all right, transportation and logistics, railroad engineers, 96% men, pilots and mechanics, 94% men, drivers, trucking, 92% men, dock workers, 88% men. All right, we talked about the public safety and security already, maintenance and repair, auto mechanics, 97% men, HVAC techs, 97% men, general repair, 93% men, agriculture and outdoor work, 80%, farmers and ranchers, men, fishing, forestry, logging, 95, 98% men, manufacturing overall, 70 to 80% men. Okay. Think about that for a second. So there's this narrative, we don't need men, feminist movement. We see the divorce rate going up. We see the marriage rates, going down. And the argument is that because the government is going to be the man, right? I'm a strong, independent woman. If they take away these benefits, it's going to force people to actually be more accountable. And that's just a true tough conversation that a lot of people don't want to have. All right. Black families, children living with married parents, 1960s, 65%, 1980s, 42%, 1990, 38%, 2000, 38%, 2010, 33%, 2020, 38%, 2023, 40%. So it's gone down since 1960, and there is a correlation between all of these things when you look at the numbers. So it's an interesting perspective, a conversation to have when you just look at the facts, when you just look at the numbers. And that's it. That's all I'm going to give you guys. www.marcusrogersministries.org if you want to support what we're doing here in Chicago. I hope you enjoyed the video. Give us some feedback in the comment section.